find it nauseating every time a new Marvel movie comes out with the tagline, "This is the best thing since the Winter Soldier," or "This movie has the same tone and grounded feel as the Winter Soldier." It's as if Marvel Studios are unable to transcend the 2014 movie and do something new. And yet, here we are with Captain America: Brave New World. I won't beat around the bush, I truly believe this movie is the Winter Soldier light. Instead of just borrowing the same tone and feel with the espionage angle, it is now explicitly copying the structure and beats of the Winter Soldier, only with less polish and finesse. Okay, let's see how they compare. At the beginning of the movie, we're introduced to Captain America in an opening action scene in which the hero shoots down from the sky, taking out some mildly efficient terrorist types, characters that will later have a mild connection to the plot. This leads to an assassination attempt that leads our hero down the path of disobeying his government, going on a road trip to uncover the mystery, leading to a bunker where answers are handed to them by a very intellectual character. Things go south for them, our hero unravels the mystery in which someone from a past MCU movie has returned and now he must fix things, taking action in a CGI-filled climax in which our hero takes down the antagonist, an antagonist that is struggling with demons in his head. Also, the movie has a sidekick named Falcon and a secret agent that hails from the Red Room, now working in a government job. So, now I ask you guys, which movie was I describing? Winter Soldier, right? Well, let's reread that again. At the beginning of the movie, we're introduced to Captain America in an opening action scene in which the hero shoots down from the sky, taking out some mildly efficient terrorist types, characters that will have a mild connection to the plot later on. This escalates to an assassination attempt that leads our hero down the path of disobeying his government, going on a road trip to uncover this mystery, leading to a bunker where answers are handed to them by a very intellectual character. Things go south for them, our hero unravels the mystery in which someone from a past MCU movie has returned and now he must fix things, taking action in a CGI-filled climax in which our hero must take down the antagonist, an antagonist that is struggling with demons in his head. Also, the movie has a sidekick named Falcon and a secret agent that hails from the Red Room, now working in a government job. So, what's the correct answer? Well, the correct answer is both. They're the same fucking movie, at least structurally. The key difference, and I can't highlight this enough, is in execution. Its differences are in character development, thematic depth, and pacing, elements that become starkly clear when you put one up against another. Now, let's sit on that last one for a second. One of the biggest strengths of the Winter Soldier is its pacing. Whilst the action is fantastic, the tone is very cool, people overlook the pacing. But I need you guys to understand how important this is. Pacing is the reason you become emotionally involved in a story. It's the difference between a scene feeling like a series of events and a story. One with no suspense, and one that has you gripping your seat. Winter Soldier never rushes through key moments. It allows the story to breathe and give the characters the space to develop, to react in meaningful ways. The political espionage angle is particularly given the time it deserves. Scenes unfold with careful tension, revealing layers of conspiracy and distrust.
Captain Rogers?
Neighbor.
This creates a slow-burning sense of paranoia.
Where did you get it?
Why would I tell you?
Fury gave it to you. Why?
What's on it?
I don't know.
Stop lying.
Additionally, this slow burn helps surprise the audience when the pace is then picked up. And again here, a slow scene elevated in pace by its contrast to something much quicker.
That is a terrible, terrible idea.
In other words, a masterclass in how to create a shocking surprise. In contrast, Brave New World suffers from fractured pacing, beats that move too quick, but a story that moves quite slow. This undermines the political espionage elements, leaving you with a series of disconnected events rather than a cohesive, riveting story. In other words, it's not a slow burn, it's just slow. See, this is why Brave New World feels rather shallow or tensionless. Its pacing reveals that the story is more concerned about moving to the next plot point than letting the story unfold at a natural pace. Now, both movies have differing emotional cores. I think this is where the movies both are equally strong. In The Winter Soldier, Steve Rogers is confronted with the true nature of the world he fought for during World War II. The movie is about his deeply personal tale with his friend turned enemy Bucky Barnes. This is neatly woven into the political narrative in which Alexander Pierce seeks to take people's freedoms away. A notion that strikes against Captain America's core beliefs. I think what makes this all feel really cohesive is how essential every character feels. Black Widow and Falcon particularly. Their development is integrated into the narrative in ways that truly matter. By contrast, Brave New World has an equally strong emotional core, especially with characters like Isaiah Bradley and Thaddeus Ross. Harrison Ford's really giving all he can for this role. Now, at the center of these two characters is our hero, Sam Wilson, Captain America. The perfect person to navigate how these two broken men have been affected by this Brave New World, seeing as the guy was literally a counselor for veterans. However, the story struggles to give these emotional moments the attention they deserve because the focus is not on its emotional core. The focus is preoccupied with the espionage angle relating to the leader, a character Sam has little to no personal connection to, unlike Steve did with Bucky. It means that the villain doesn't feel essential to our hero's story. Now, that's an important separation to make. It's not that the leader isn't important to this story, i.e. Ross and that, because he is. It's that he's not important to our hero's story. And this is made worse when we flip the script. Does Sam Wilson feel essential to Ross and the leader's story? The answer is no, because he doesn't. And that sucks because that makes Sam Wilson rather unimportant in his own story. When Sam and the leader come face to face for the first time, you feel nothing. You felt more tension when Steve was confronting Arnim Zola, for Christ's sake. Bloke was the third villain of that movie. And this sucks as a viewer because we want to feel like every character has a strong pull to one another, and that's important. It's especially important for an intrigue-focused story in which we see layers of characters that all have their own relationships. Now, this isn't just me talking out of my ass. Character relationship diagrams are used quite often to test the integrity of how well the characters connect with each other. The more layered you can make these connections, the better the tension is between characters, between their worldviews. Okay, for example's sake, let's take a look at the characters we see in The Winter Soldier. This here is more or less everyone. We have Cap and the people he's met in the movie, then we have those characters with existing connections to each other, like Natasha with her scar she received from her first encounter with the Winter Soldier, or the fact that Sharon and Peggy are related. Now very quickly we can start to see that these characters all know each other. They all have relationships. However, what makes a movie great isn't that they just know each other, it's how well they know each other. How strong Steve's relationship is with Bucky, or Natasha, or Fury. Additionally, part of the beauty of an espionage story is that we question if Steve can trust these people, how well he actually knows them.
Who else knows about your wife?
Just my friends.
Is that what we are?
That's up to you.
Now for example's sake, let's take a look at Brave New World. His relationship diagram reflects quite closely to Steve's, seeing as the movie is literally copying The Winter Soldier. Sam has a strong connection to Isaiah, Torres, and Bucky, which we've seen in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He also has a mild involvement with the military, seeing as that was his background. There's also a mild connection to Ross, seeing as Ross's main opposition was Steve, not Sam, in the Infinity Saga, but Sam was fighting along Steve, so we're going with mild. He has a weak or very little connection with the Red Room Secret Service lady, and a weak or little connection to the two villains of the film, the Serpent Society and the Leader. Now, if we look at both trees, as I said before, they're structured pretty similarly, but if we've learnt anything so far, it's not about how closely you can mirror the structure of something good, if the connections, the bonds, and the thematic depth that ties these characters together is weak. It's sad too, because the movie is begging for us to make this connection between these three characters specifically, to focus on this, not the hollow espionage that has very little to do with Sam personally. Ross and Bradley are both broken men, for differing reasons. It makes sense that the connective tissue between these two characters is Sam Wilson, a literal counselor, the perfect person to help them both out. The emotional core, what would have made this story really tick, lies here, not in copying the Winter Soldier's mystery. Speaking of copying the Winter Soldier, something they could have borrowed was its use of silence and tension. The movie just knew when to breathe. That maybe cracking a joke right after an emotional monologue isn't appropriate when your friend is on life support on the other side of the glass. Sam, Bucky, I'm talking to you guys. Sure, Brave New World commits to the emotion when it counts, when Sam has to calm down Bradley or Ross, but fuck me. Time and place, guys. The key separation between these two movies is thematic depth. On the surface, they are incredibly similar. However, The Winter Soldier's complex view of patriotism is super interesting, with Steve Rogers struggling between his ideals and the harsh realities of a post-9/11 world. It's a meditation on freedom, power, and sacrifice, with a sharp focus on the personal stakes for Steve. What the world looks like in a surveillance era, an era where security and freedom are questioned. As for Brave New World, well, it doesn't do too much. It doesn't have much to say. You got a president who turns into a literal red rage monster and you can't say anything political about that. You have a black Captain America and you can't say anything political about that. The movie instead wants to focus on legacy, redemption, and being enough. However, Brave New World doesn't give these themes the same philosophical grounding as The Winter Soldier. Instead of developing these ideas with the same sense of urgency, Brave New World seems distracted by its need to tie up loose ends from other Marvel movies. The movie's pretty much a soft sequel to the Incredible Hulk movie, is what I'm trying to get at, and kind of the Eternals as well. The result is a movie that feels more concerned with the broader MCU narrative than with saying anything meaningful about its core themes, any of the ideas it wants to present. Guys, at its core, The Winter Soldier is a film that combines tight storytelling, deep character development, and a sharp political edge, whilst Brave New World, whilst not dogshit by any means, fails to match its predecessor in nearly every category. It tries to replicate the espionage and political tension of The Winter Soldier, but it does so without the same level of finesse or insight. Whilst Brave New World wants to explore some intriguing ideas, it ultimately falls short in its execution, unable to deliver on its thematic promises.
Alright guys, thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate that you took the time to take a look at this one. I know I was a little late with Captain America, but still, got the video out there. That being said, I do need to thank my Illuminati Patreon members, the ones that keep this channel afloat and allow me to keep creating videos. That is Alexis, RJ, Ben, Braden, Cameron, Mr. CCS, Carson, Christos, Crafting, Daniel, David, Derek, Draco, Jared, Lance, Sasha, The Bias, Unlucky Dreamer, Ziggy, Bruce Wayne, Amir, Marrakit, 12Cat, Fred, and the Human Rocket. You legends are just the best. I love you guys. Thank you so much. If you check on the Patreon now, I've actually teased the next video, so yeah, take a look at that. But yeah, on that note, I have a really big video coming up. I'm really excited for the future of this channel and what I'm going to be exploring soon. But yeah, with that being said, if you guys liked the video, stay locked to the channel by subscribing, give it a like, it really helps me out. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao.